To begin the quest unfinished business, we're given orders to report to Valena, Daunton and Coral for our assigned duties. Upon arriving by the Great Tree, we hear people in the street comment.
I heard the Fighters Guild got the Fallen Rock contract, but the guy is just sitting around drinking beer. It's a simple job. Go get a journal from Fallen Rock Cave. Shouldn't that be a cinch for a Fighter Guild contract?
Heading north past the tree, we then enter the Fighters Guild Hall. Inside, we're abruptly met by the grisly Dark Elf champion, Modred Oreyn.
Hello.
We find that the Fighters Guild isn't doing much of fighting and more spreading of a rumour mill, as the chapter seems more complacent than others, and our reputation precedes us, as the porter can be overheard saying.
You heard any more about the rat thing in Anvil? I hear we have another new recruit. Things are looking up. What's his name? Maglir? Maglir? He's the other bottom boot, right? Not the rat guy.
Who's this Maglir? And why is the town abuzz with the contract not being fulfilled by the guild? Seeking answers and to make a few septims with a contract ourselves. Heading up the stairs to the 3rd floor, we meet the guildmaster, Valena Daunton, behind her desk, and she greets.
To what do we owe this pleasure? Greetings. I see you've been keeping yourself busy. This is good. I believe it's time for you to perform some duties for your guild.
Duties? Ah yes, I was sent here with promise of a contract.
We are a brotherhood, a family. What affects one of us affects us all. Fighting, drunkenness, dereliction of duty are not tolerated. I would like you to speak with Modred Oreyn. He will assign you any duties that are currently pending. Good luck to you.
Drunkenness? But I'm not drunk. What are you talking about? I thought you had duties for me.
For now, Modred Oreyn will be handling your duty assignments. Please speak with him. Just do your job.
With that strange interaction ending, we note in our journal, Valena Daunton has told me, as a member of the Fighters Guild, there are a number of duties I'll be expected to perform. She would like me to speak with Modred Oreyn about these. An assignment we don't relish. As we've heard around the guild, Oreyn can be a tough nut to crack.
That Modred Oreyn has got no sense of humor. Hell of a warrior, though. No wonder he's done so well in the Fighters Guild.
Speaking of the rumour mill going in overdrive, we can hear around the city why Valena Daunton isn't as effective a leader as she used to be.
Valena is pretty useless since Vitellis died. Thank gods Oreyn is around to keep things together.
Valena Daunton just hasn't been the same since her eldest son died. Still, she does a good job of running the Fighters Guild.
Now understanding why Daunton perhaps wants to distance herself from her duties for a moment, we turn and see a weapons rack and spy a well-crafted, fine steel longsword. A nice replacement for our old sword. And the beginning of our upgrade of weapons and armor, which we'll do through the series. Heading down the stairs, we find the Dour Dunmer on the 1st floor, and he questions impatiently.
Ready for duty? What do you want? I suppose you've come looking for duties, huh?
Yeah, Valena sent me. She said you'll handle my contracts, or duties you call them now. I still get paid, right?
Duties for you. Fine. I'll speak slowly so you can keep up. I want you to contact Maglir.
Okay. What's a Maglir?
He's one of your Fighters Guild brothers, but he's defaulted on a contract. We can't allow that. Makes us all look bad.
Maglir? How do you default?
He didn't finish out a contract in Skingrad. Suppose I shouldn't be surprised. He's raw like you. Go and find out what's wrong with him.
So, find Maglir.
Yes, Maglir. Find him. See why he defaulted. I swear, I've scraped things off the bottom of my boots that were smarter than you. Don't just stand there. Move!
Now, it should quickly be noted, the Fighters Guild has some of the most comprehensive rumours in the game. There is so many that have been recorded, and I thought it would be a waste to not highlight some of the better ones. If you're wondering why I'm stopping every 12 seconds to throw out these really cool quotes, it's so funny to think this organisation that's based on fighting is full of petty gossip, though, to be fair, it seems the lack of contracts going around are adding to the guild members' agitation. So imagine their ire that one of their members is not fulfilling one of the now scarce contracts. Congruently, we can hear around the guild of Maglir defaulting on his contract.
Oreyn is pretty steamed up about Maglir. He can get expelled for that, can't he? I don't know what's going on, but Oreyn said Maglir has the contract. Has he lost his nerve? That Maglir is probably parked in some tavern. I never did like that 8-pint hero.
Exiting the Fighters Guild Hall, we note in our journal. Modern Oreyn has told me that as my first duty, I am to find out why Maglir has defaulted on a contract he was given near Skingrad. Heading to Skingrad's west gate, we turn to the north and up the cobble path and stop to speak to a guard who greets.
State your business.
Yeah, I was just looking for Maglir. Have you heard of him?
No, him. He's been around. Mostly at the West Weald, staring at the bottom of a flagon of ale. Good day.
Seems this Maglir prefers to drink than fight. We then find to the northeast a stone's throw away, the entrance to the Westweald Inn. Inside, we see a lone Bosmer in iron armor standing nice and comfy by the fire. Surveying the hall, we see no one else except for the publican asleep by the southwestern wall. Awaking her, she spryly questions.
I hope I can help.
Sorry for waking you, love. I'm looking for Maglir.
He's around here somewhere. Has been for days. No trouble, really. Bye.
Oreyn Geranus then goes back to sleep, and we have no doubt this diminutive Bosmer must be our quarry. And say, you Fighters Guild?
What is it? Brother? They send you to find me?
Well, yeah, if you're Maglir.
I'm Maglir. What do you want?
I heard you defaulted on your contract. Not good.
Defaulted? I suppose so. I'm not paid enough to do the job. I was supposed to find Brennus Astus's journal.
Brennus Astus's journal? That doesn't sound hard.
That was my job. They said it was in Fallen Rock Cave. You ever been in there? Didn't think so. I'm not going back. Not for that kind of money. If you care that much, you go find it. The contract's yours. It's not worth it for what the guild is paying. I've got a family to think about.
Oreyn's pissed.
Whatever.
Looking at the flaky scamp, we note in our journal. Maglir tells me his contract was to find the scholar Brennus Astus's journal within Fallen Rock Cave. He doesn't believe he's being paid well enough for the dangerous assignment, so he's chosen not to complete it. He's told me I should complete the contract instead. Cheeky bugger. If we try and sway him, he simply states.
You're still around. I've told you why I defaulted on the contract. Not too much else to be said about it. Do what you must. Whatever.
With little recourse, we head out of the hall and back into the Coral Fighters Guild. Speaking to Oreyn again, he seems madder than ever.
Why are you talking to me? Shouldn't you be finding Maglir?
Yeah, I found Maglir. Said he's not doing the job. Something about not enough money and too dangerous for him and his family.
He's not doing the job. The little vermin. It still needs to be done. You get back there and make sure that job is finished. Get moving! Don't just stand there. Move!
Looks like we got a journal to find. We better be getting paid for this. Making our way northwest of Skingrad, through its grassy foothills, we finally find what Maglir described as the entrance to Fallen Rock Cave. Once inside, we see something just ahead, and, with torch in hand, discover fallen rocks over the entrance and a body that's crushed at the crutch by a sizable boulder. Looking over the poor fellow's remains, we see that he was guarding a chest, no doubt of booty that he laid claim to. Trying to peer through the nearby fallen rocks, we see a group of meandering skeletons and draw our bow. Having sniped the first of the skeletons, we ready ourselves as another attempts to flank us through the passage to the northeast. Seeing as our path to the north is blocked, we follow the first tunnel to the right. The cave structure we follow is rather unremarkable, however, is crawling with undead enemies. Descending through the passage further, we see the tunnels ahead are submerged in water. Sniping 2 sentries in an open ravine, we discover another chest, which has us question. Has somebody left their booty in hopes of returning? Or perhaps the skeletons are bound here and once were in possession of said treasure. Regardless, at the end of the northwestern hall, in a small alcove, we dispatch 2 mud crabs and see in the northwestern corner the floating body of a dead zombie. But why is a zombie dead here? And was it guarding its own treasure, we wonder? Sparking our torch, we see that somebody has dug into the side of the wall where they've set down a chest that has items that are quite unremarkable. However, it's to the right of the chest we see Brennus Astius's journal. The item Maglir failed to retrieve. Opening the journal to try and understand what happened in this cave and why this journal has any value before we depart. We begin to read and see the journal boasts various studies on the fauna of Cyrodiil by Brennus Astius, a scholar. And he seems like Cyrodiil's own Sir David Attenborough, trying to advance the studies of fauna in the area, and so I shall read it as such. Although much of the journal has become unreadable, we do glean. The Cyrodiilic rat appears less aggressive than its counterpart in various other provinces. They are prevalent in all parts of Cyrodiil, equally at home in basement dwellings, caves, ruins, or grasslands. They're known to carry disease, and their bites can be painful. The rest of the document about rats is illegible. However, it picks up about another creature. Though once thought to be intelligent, they are social creatures, often appearing in groups numbering 20 or more. The largest male dominates this clan structure and seems to have breeding rights with all the females of reproductive age. Younger males will often challenge the older, dominant males in a fight to the death. Their horns locked, the 2 minotaurs will wrestle until one can no longer continue. This often, again, a part is missing until it picks up with another creature, called billies by many of the local farmers. But is this so-called land dreg actually of any relation to the sea-dwelling dreg? There certainly seem to be similarities in morphology, especially in the region of the head and thorax. And they produce the same dreg wax found in the aquatic creatures. However, while true dreg are known to be cunning, even intelligent, these land dreg demonstrate none of the same intelligence. They are violent and aggressive, killing indiscriminately. Some believe them to be of Daedric origins, perhaps related to the spider Daedra. That, however, is not the opinion of this researcher. It appears more likely that the land dreg are a distant relative of the true dreg, perhaps an ancestor from far back on the evolutionary timeline. Again, a portion of the diary is missing, however it picks up. Much has been made of the fact that trolls can be killed only by application of fire, whether it be by spell or torch. This is, in fact, a myth. Trolls do seem to have a weakness to fire and fire-based spells, and a fantastic ability to regenerate tissue, but they can be killed by conventional means. One should note, however, that trolls should absolutely not, and then the rest of the journal is unfortunately unreadable. Now, forgive me if I had a little too much fun with that rendition, but this brings us to the portion of the quest where now with journal in hand, we face a decision as our quest updates. I have found Brennus Astus's journal. I should either speak with Maglir or tell Modron Oreyn that the contract is now completed. Exiting the cavern with journal in hand, we begin our own study of a different type of rat. As returning to Maglir, we can still speak to him first before making our judgment for Oreyn.
What? You're still around? I've told you why I defaulted on the contract. Not too much else to be said about it. Do what you must.
You may have defaulted, but I found Astus's journal.
You found it, huh? Good work, I guess. Well, take it back to Oreyn then. He can pay you on the contract. Tell him what you want about me.
Having two options, we can say. You seem pretty flippant about the whole ordeal. I'll need to report your failure.
I understand about duty. Don't get me wrong. Should have been more than one guy on this job, and I've got my family to think about. They come first.
However, if we're curious as to why Maglir keeps talking about his family and want to know if he really is just a flake, we can get him to open up by gaining his trust, saying, "You know what, Maglir? What if I do you a solid? Tell me why you did it, and I'll tell him you did the job."
Thanks. I'm not trying to shirk my duty, but it used to be 2 or 3 men would be on this. I like the guild, but I've got a family to consider. Whatever.
So it seems Maglir didn't default out of pure cowardice, but the guild's resources have become questionable, putting him in harm's way where they wouldn't have previously. So now we have to decide Maglir's fate and deal with the consequences for either choice. As our quest updates, Maglir has told me that he doesn't care whether or not Modron Oreyn knows that he did not complete the contract. Returning to a surly Oreyn by the guild hall's doors, he questions.
Why are you talking to me? Shouldn't you be finding Maglir?
Well, I found Maglir.
So, I assume you've dealt with Maglir. Tell me about why he defaulted on his contract.
Here's the journal you said he defaulted on.
You've got the journal. Good. So, what happened in Skingrad?
It's then we can either truthfully say, Maglir scuttled. I completed the task, but here's the journal anyway.
You did it? I'll be talking to Maglir soon. I don't need one wet ear covering for another. Still, the job got done. Here's the reward. Stay with
A
it.
hail and hearty welcome.
It will complete the quest, and if we choose to rat out Maglir now, we receive 1 fame point. But it will affect further quests with Maglir in the future that we will discover soon enough. So if we don't want to affect our future quests with Maglir and his potential help, we can instead have said, he didn't default. Here's the journal.
He didn't. This doesn't sit well with me. Not well at all. Still, the job got done. Let's hope your friend Maglir has learned a lesson here. Stay with it.
We then receive the same leveled gold. However, this time we do not receive 1 fame point, though Maglir will stay loyal to us. But we haven't severed ties with Maglir in the future. Keeping Maglir's secret, we can begin to hear around the guild.
The one bottom boot covered for the other, I hear. It's a tough situation. Our new recruit says Maglir completed the Fallen Rock Cave contract. Oreyn refuses to talk about it.
That's it for the quest. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you want to support the channel in a more personal way, a Patreon is linked at the end of the video. As always, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, Traveller.